Welcome to Inwards Outwards, an open mic event at Deb Kaufman's Art Space, featuring storytellers, poets, musicians, and performers from Berkshire County.
Inwards, outwards. Inwards, out.
Alrighty, welcome everybody. I think we may have one or two new people. So just so you know, this is Inwards Outwards, which is IWOW for short. It's July 7th, 2020. And the theme is what I care about. You don't have to use the theme tonight, but it's certainly something to think about. Can you not hear me, Susie? Oh, you can hear me. Okay. Okay, let's see. What else did I want to say? I'm recording this, so it will be played on CTSB in a day or two, or whenever they get it up for me, which is nice. People have been emailing and calling me and telling me how grateful they are that they get to watch you guys perform, even if they can't show up for the night. So that's a great service. Yay, community. Okay, Kristen is not here, sad, but Amelia is here. And so you are first, Amelia.
There we go, I unmuted. How do you like that? Hi everyone, and welcome to IWOW 2020. What I care about, what's important to me, are friends, but friends that I've known for many years. Friends who have known me all that time, know where I came from, who I've been, who I've become, who recognize who I am. I think a lot of people, when they're married, that's what the mate does, knows who you are, what you did, and you know, all the trials you've had and how you've conquered them. My oldest friend is Dolores. She and I were children together. We played in the clay banks. We played in the woods. She broke her arm we were roller skating and I was blamed for it, which was okay. I knew I didn't. But we had our first dates together. We double dated. We did a bunch of crazy stuff. But that's who I've been. That's how I grew up. I have one friend who passed away on Monday, Marsha Lee Shyness, was a playwright and an actress. She was from Corpus Christi, Texas, smoked Sherman cigarettes, wore gaucho hats, had a flair, a definite flair. And she knew who I was and how I was in the village. So she was really important to me. To me, that grounds me, that feels like I'm real because someone knows who I am and how I've evolved all these years. It's not just between my ears. There are a bunch of other people, Dick Marshall, who I spoke to about 3 days ago. He lived in my building. Sally Skirmahorn lived in my building. They were actors. They were singers. So I was able to witness them as well as they witnessed me. I took over the hallway. I put a closet in the hallway of a tenement building. I filed for it. How I got away with all of that stuff, I don't know, but I did. And Sally was part of it. And when the inspector came, she had her dress unbuttoned down to her pupik, and she let him see a little bit, and he forgot why he was there, and he passed us and gave us our permits. So these are the experiences I've enjoyed and was part of, and they were my mirrors, and they chronicled who I am. They grounded me, and they're still living. So we're still cooking, kids. It's wonderful to have old friends in my life. I have a lot of new ones, but the old ones I cherish. So thanks, guys.
Thank you, Amelia. This is what we do in Toastmasters, so you can really see. Yeah, that's great.
Should have had the lights on.
Yeah, thanks, Amelia. Up now is Susanna Opper.
Hi.
Hi, Susanna.
So this is a piece I wrote for our town, which is keeping a kind of a chronicle of what this has all been, what's been going on in our town during the pandemic. So this is called The Last Bird. Hey, I said, standing on my tiptoes to glimpse the lone bird in the nest over the light next to our front door. You're the last one, I continued. Are you lonely? Frightened of what's next? The 5 Eastern Phoebe eggs had been laid weeks earlier in a nest my husband and I both thought was lacking. We have some experience, as nearly every year these homebodies make their best attempt at a nest over one of our lights. Occasionally they've tried the drain pipe next to the garage. The last attempt there failed miserably with a destroyed nest and broken eggs. But in spite of the shabby nest, the parents had been diligent about sitting on their eggs and feeding their brood, and all 5 had hatched. 2 flew within a few weeks. We suspected because they were more aggressive and got better fed. 3 were there for a few more days, and now there was only this one. I decided to have a little conversation with the remaining bird, socially distanced from the nest, of course. I set up my chair, intended to sit on the lawn at Tanglewood. I get it about the suddenness, I said. Right now, you're safe in your nest, but the minute you leave, everything changes. That happened to us, but it was the other way around. One day, everything was normal. The next, we couldn't go anywhere. The bird shifted his position and looked at me quizzically. I continued. We have fear of the future, too. I'm assuming you're afraid. We're afraid we might get the virus. You're okay on that score. The bird flu didn't turn out to be the deadly one. Like you, we have no idea what's going to happen. Everything's up in the air, so to speak. Actually, I'm happy in my nest. I have my garden and my computer, which has its own kind of flight called Zoom. I have lots of cleaning to do, though I don't care much for that. And every day I go for a walk. That's sort of like flying, but not really. And each week I organize a hike into the forest. You'll learn about trees when you finally get the nerve to get out of here. The bird was beginning to look a little bored with my conversation, so I packed up my chair and went in the house. A few hours later, when I emerged to cut flowers, the nest was empty.
Thank you, Susanna.
You're welcome.
Up next is Steve Kerner. Hi, Steve. Can you unmute?
Mute, and I had saved my document. Just give me 1 second to call my document up. Nice shot today. Okay. Why don't you just let it go and say nice shot? When I was young, I would proudly, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. When I was young, I would proudly chase most anything down, a baseball, a football, a tennis ball, but I had serious performance anxiety, so I would often fumble when it came my way. After years of therapy, my performance anxiety is now much improved, but at times it's like a strand of my DNA still drives me to prove myself, like a weed cut from the garden, but its roots are lurking and waiting to throw up new shoots. So it's not my fault. It's the fault of my DNA strand, right? Recently, after nearly crashing into a fence running for a tennis ball, Jay said, "Steve, why don't you do like the rest of us old timers? Just let the ball go and say nice shot." Well, it's because I'm still trying to prove myself to my dad, I guess. So when I get to one of those nearly impossible shots and hear the guys suck in their breaths and utter, "Wow," it just lights me up inside. But last week was the turning point. I was playing doubles on a soft court surface. The serve came to me, and I returned it pretty well. The guy on the other side hit a nice cross-court shot that my partner couldn't get to, and that pesky DNA strand of mine kicked in. The run seemed interminably long. My eye was on the ball, and I knew I would need to switch the racket to my left hand. That's a new technique I'm working on because it gives my shrinking body more extension. I was running at a speed that many 30-year-olds would seriously be proud of, but the ball hit a soft spot and started following a lower trajectory than expected. Now I had to incline my body forward while running at full speed. I thought I must have looked like a senior citizen bent forward with osteoarthritis as they struggle to push their shopping cart, except my legs were pumping really fast. My body was in high gear, but not high enough, as I received a lightning message from my brain saying, "You're going down. Sorry, I can't help you. You'd better pray." I wanted to pray, but all that came out was, "Oh shit, this is not going to be good." One last lunge with my left leg to try to stabilize myself, and then I was hurtling through the air like a sack of potatoes tossed from a moving truck. Next thing I knew, I was on my back. Everything seemed intact, except for the pain in my left hamstring. I saw my doubles partners hovering at a safe social distance and looking concerned. I remained on my back and assessed the damage. I couldn't straighten my leg, but after a few long minutes, I was able to stand precariously and painfully and humbly hobble off the court. Next time, I thought, like Jay said, why don't you let it go and just say, "Nice shot"? It's more important to care for your health than to get accolades from others, right?
Thank you, Steve. Susie Kaufman next.
Hi,
Hi, sweetie.
this is called The Long View. It's always the same. I start with the best of intentions to write something egg white frothy, singing in the rain sunny. But the more I get into it, the more I come back to who I am, bathed in the afterlight of creation. The more I come back to my real self, the more the sentences deflate. The egg white falls. Gene Kelly trips over his umbrella. I don't see myself as a dark person really, but I am an originalist. I think in terms of the beginnings of things, and in the beginnings are always the endings. This afterlight of creation that I'm connected to, the cosmic background, is a remnant of the Big Bang, a prom night corsage dried and pressed between the pages of the yearbook, a reminder that we were all given life in the same holy exhale. The glow is neither good nor bad. It doesn't discriminate between the sick and the healthy, the young and the old, the oppressed and the oppressors. It just is. And when the going gets tough and tap dancing isn't adequately distracting, I can find myself feeling jackhammered by the news, boxed in by this here reality like a lab rat in a cage. Then I sometimes find it salutary to take the long view. the deep space geometry. In those moments, I'm inclined to think in terms of eternity and infinity, that old time opiate of the people. There's something about spirit that knows me and has nothing to do with the specifics of particular traditions. I don't care about rosaries or yarmulkes. I don't care about rules regarding what to eat and what not to eat. I don't care about who's in charge and what out-of-print language they speak. I care about the universal heartbeat, the ebb and flow of the tide, the breath that sustained people in ancient times and sustains us still. This enormity has no borders. It's not the West Bank, and it's not the intersection of 38th and Chicago and Minneapolis. It's not a turf that people are fighting over. At this intergalactic distance, there is no struggle. Life and death are going at it, making love, and sometimes I'm in orbit out there, and it's all that I care about. But other times, I'm lying in rubble in a vacant lot, and weeds are breaking through the cracks in the asphalt. There is trash strewn everywhere. There are black and brown bodies being beaten down the block, and old people dying of the demon virus around the corner. I am a tennis ball, bouncing back and forth from the quarantine of being to the limitless expanse of not being. Then my first prayer is to become an expert juggler, keeping all these balls in the air. And my second prayer is to forgive myself when one of them falls to the ground and runs into the gutter. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you, sweetheart. And Kristen has arrived. Yay!
Hey.
Hey, welcome, sweetie. You're up.
Hi, thank you. Sorry, thanks for letting me jump in. Thanks to Julie Balter for texting me. I remembered, and then, you know, the day happened and I forgot. So here I am. So let's see. I have something to say that I care about. It's not fully thought out, but here goes. So of all the things in the moment I could talk about, I really care about grammar. I really care about like language and words and spelling and appropriate use of punctuation. And I'm a writer and I'm a teacher, and so I can't not see those things. And I know many of you are similar in that way. There's a great book by Lynn Truss called Eats, Shoots, and Leaves, which is a whole novel about punctuation, which is great if you ever want to check it out. And so because I love grammar, I can't not see these things. And my father, who has a high school diploma, and that's it, is really not just a terrible speller, but just sort of takes like really incredible liberties with words and all capitals and weird punctuation and like two and two or your and your. And I don't go on Facebook too often, but he and my mother-in-law love to banter back and forth over funny coffee memes and like silly grandparent things. And a few weeks ago, about a month ago, she had posted a picture of her other grandson and something about him starting a lawn mowing business. It was a joke. And my father commented, oh, I can see it now, K and Son. So my husband's last name is K, and it's spelled K-A-Y-E. My father had neglected to put the E on there. Now, totally honest error, except if you've seen some of the other things my dad spells. I just made a little joke like, oh, haha, Dad, you know, it's your grandson's last name. You better like learn how to spell it. Something sort of silly. I did not think about it again. Well, I received like several confused messages in the days that followed from my father. First he sends my sister and I video messages. So he sent a video message to my sister, but also to me saying like, I don't know, your sister, and I think she's pissed at me and I don't understand her. So I didn't understand what the kerfuffle was. So I finally like got him on the phone and got him talking. And I said, Dad, I said, I'm sorry. I said, just what I said to you folks. Like, I'm a teacher, I'm a writer, I can't help it. So he was really upset, like really upset about this correction. And in his ranting, what I heard him say was, you know, you and your brother, you're always correcting me on Facebook. And, you know, my friends see that. And my friend said, you let your son talk to you this way. My father's like going to be 77 years old. And I just in that moment, it hit me like, oh, yeah, that's like, he's ashamed, he's embarrassed. Like he doesn't want to be embarrassed he doesn't want to be called out by his daughter in front of all of his Facebook friends or any of his friends, right? And it I just stopped making it I stopped all of it and I just apologized. I just said, oh, Dad, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I really didn't realize this meant like you felt this way, and I'll never do that again, at least not publicly. And it got me thinking a lot about shame, and it got me thinking a lot about changing people's minds or working on like raising our consciousness together. And look, I don't even like I tread really lightly with my retired New York City sergeant cop father. But like we've edged into some other conversations, and regardless of whether it's my dad or a stranger or a friend, it doesn't work if you make people feel bad, and it doesn't work when shame is a part of the puzzle. And you're not going to change anyone's. That's what I've just realized and remembered. Like you're not going to change anybody's minds or anybody's behavior if you make them feel dumb. So I know a lot of a lot of us maybe have been made to feel dumb, made to feel like we've done something wrong when we didn't even realize we were doing anything wrong. But I realized that maybe there's a way to quietly point people in the right direction without doing it publicly. So that was my beautiful insight, just because I needed to correct this spelling. So thanks for listening, and I am looking forward to hearing what the rest of y'all have to say tonight. Thanks. Be well. Good night.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, honey. Okay, up next. Oh, I forgot to do this. I'll do on deck, and then I'll do who's up. Yeah, that probably helps you, huh? Julie is on deck, and Sonia is up next. Hey, Sonia. You're not unmuted, though. You're still muted.
Hi. Oh, wait, I just lost it. Hold on.
Oh, there you are.
Hi, everybody. Great to see everyone. I don't know why, but I've been turning towards childhood, and I've been turning towards poetry, and some poetry that I wrote a while ago. And I often find that when I look in the past of my work, I find new things that I want to write about. So this is some childhood poems. And I started out as a poet before I started writing fiction. Ago, as if wishes were a matter of cadabras, scattered like green poem seedlings. As if spinning on one foot set the solar system 1 hour ahead. As if Merlin were president, Houdini his secretary of the imagination. As if you could still call the exterminator to get rid of hobgoblins in the pantry. Childhood, 1. I was big as a nun, knowledgeable of the facts of life, tinier than a cat, a polka dot. The witch of the second floor dropped a tissue-wrapped coin out of the window, commanding a quart of milk for tea. I fought dragons and cars. It was years before I returned. The milk was still cold. Rainbows aren't in the sky. That's just what they tell us. You know, tooth fairies, God. But I've seen rainbows on the corner of my street. They smell funny. I wonder if dogs do them who eat boxes of Crayola. I don't believe it. My mother and father wouldn't. You don't know them, they're old-fashioned. Besides, they're not American. Well, I was probably adopted. Between the petunias and begonias, Sonia sat on the fire escape, calling the boys' stickball game till they told me to keep my big trap shut. So I bombed every one of them with water balloons. Even the pigeons knew my name. My mother wept when she cut the bubble gum out of my hair. It didn't really hurt, not as much as the time I got it on my eyelashes. I once had to go to the hospital to be operated because I stuck a bottle of lavender eau de cologne up my nose because it smelled so fine. Did we spin hula hoops, or did they ring around us like gyroscope? Were there really girls named Alice who came from Alabama? I stepped on as many cracks as I could, and my mother never even had a backache. The witch of the second floor gave me a diamond necklace. I bobby pinned it on top of my head and wouldn't take it off ever, not even when I went to sleep. And this is my last poem. It's called Maiden Rights, which became the title of a book I wrote, Maiden Rights. Whipping black hair until it rose in puffs of amorous dragonflies. Every night 100 lashes. Prayers at the mirrored altar for a blessing of breasts. Hourglass shell for a twig. Kisses spun by the bottle, shared with a pillow warm for tears, to know the dark passages when violins swelled. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you. Okay, Deborah Phelps is on deck and Julie Balter is up next.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Julie.
I love being back here with all of you. Okay. Monday night, I did what I always did because I have this routine down, and now it's as if this has always been my life. I grab a chilled pudding cup from the fridge. Pudding, mind you, whipped from an avocado, almond milk, and an overflowing spoonful of cacao powder. And not because I'm vegan or even a vegetarian or even health conscious these days, but because after 3 months of indulging a carbon-rich quarantine diet, I've come to accept that some things should be reconsidered. For instance, my weight. That is, anyway, what I was thinking. Sure, this politically correct pudding could in fact contain more fat than cookie butter ice cream. Or maybe not. We really don't know anymore what will kill us. And so there I was, lying on my belly in bed, elbows propped, plant pudding cup in one hand, reaching for the television remote control with the other, when just like that, the control was not where it should be. I was not concerned. Occasionally the remote is, on a lark, set down atop an unread book stack or caught between the snarl of blankets and sheets, but not tonight. The remote was not dropped under the bed or trapped between the mattress pad or iced into the freezer, which is where I once found my sunglasses. It simply disappeared. One day my bedroom glowed with a dim virtual, one day my bedroom glowed with a dim lit virtual orgy of drag queens, politicians, and Irish teenagers. And the next, it was just me and Bear. Now, I've never known Bear to bury anything, but I tried to believe that it was he who replaced the remote. In days to come, whenever he looked up at me, I'd say, Bear, where's the remote? In the same manner you might ask that of, say, a spouse. But Bear didn't reply. Is it possible I was sleepwalking and during this time decided I no longer had a need for a remote control in my life? That then and there I marched it into the dumpster? I've never known myself to sleepwalk, but then again, I've also never known myself to talk in my sleep until some time ago when visiting my parents, my mother, tottering in the middle of the night, said she heard me shout at Bear to stop barking. Only he wasn't barking. It was my imagination. Life is like that. I couldn't bring myself to buy a new remote because now, even 2 weeks later, even though I live in a 400 square foot cottage, I'm certain it will show up. Or at least I'm certain that it should show up. Meanwhile, I'll sometimes hunch over the 12-inch screen of my MacBook watching Queer Eye's Fab 5 induce magic makeovers on kind, self-neglected caregiver types. I am thinking that maybe after all these months of lockdown, I should do something different during this dark of night. Something gentle, something that doesn't require much focus. I'm just not sure what. Squinting into the computer screen, I remembered as a small child, I spent too much time ruminating how people shrunk themselves to fit inside a TV. These stars, their lives were so large, yet their bodies so small. But nobody could explain how TV shows were made any more than how God created the earth. Here is another Buddhist koan for you. How did you get to Sesame Street? Where days were sunny, the air sweet, and children, adults, and animals coexisted in a cult of compassion and equality. But nobody could ever tell you how to get there. This is why by first grade, my playmates intuitively knew how to sniff someone's otherness and wage sandbox riots. After school, watching Sesame Street was replaced with the sci-fi hit show Lost in Space. Surely there was nothing more terrifying than that very idea, lost in space, where you were terminally trapped with your family, where nobody could hear you scream. You see, this quarantine, it's like this. One day you have control, and the next you're trying to shrink yourself to fit into a new space. You feel lost, but still relentlessly hopeful that someday you will reconnect. You will find your way home. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. On deck is Dan Ruderman. Up now is Deborah Phelps.
Hello.
Here you are.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Tonight I'm going to talk about my dad. And that's my dad. It's a photo from a year ago, but the moon up in the corner is from 4th of July night, because my dad passed away in the wee hours Monday, July 5th. And he was transitioning during fireworks sounds outside in this beautiful full moon. And he was 96 years old and a World War II veteran. And he served in the South Pacific on a ship. There he is as in 1945 or so. And so I've been here, I'm out in their home on Long Island. I've been with him for the last almost 2 weeks. He was on hospice. My mom is still alive at 92. And behind me is a tapestry on the wall that I wove for him when he retired from the general store post office that we owned and ran. And he retired in 1986. And that's a picture of the store post office with one of my mom's angels standing in front of it. And on top is a twig from a mountain laurel that my sister gathered in her yard. And when she was dying of cancer, she painted them for a family. And so that's one of her painted snakes, we call it. It's a snake she painted up there. And my dad was a very proud Navy man. And the funeral will be Thursday, and we're going to have a Navy color guard. And I've been spending all day today writing about my dad and trying to find dates for things. And he's an 11th generation Hildreth. The two brothers arrived from England in 1635 and settled in this area. He ran the general store with his father when he came back from the war and became a postmaster eventually. He was an avid sailor and boatman, but he built his own boats in the barn. Just kind of had a natural intuition to how to do things. He was good in sports, although he didn't really care or seem to try. It's just, if he was bowling, he'd get a strike and you'd say, wow, and you'd go, well, isn't that what you're supposed to do? He played a golf course in Florida once and got a hole in one. And same response, well, isn't that what you're supposed to do, kind of a thing. So he was always just non-competitive and calm. And he was an avid woodworker. And so we have a lot of carvings and things. He made many doll houses for all kids, and he did replicas of the store and of the original Presbyterian church around here and of other things. And when he sold the store to my cousin, which has been in the family since 1893, he took the antiques from back then and made a museum in our barn, which is still there. So that's my dad, and he had a good life. He would deliver groceries to people and often come home with a broken chair or an old clock that some elderly person needed fixed, and he'd fix it, go down the cellar and fix it and return it to them next time he delivered groceries, all for free. So that was my dad. We're gonna only have something at the graveside with family, but everybody is calling to say, can we come, can we come? So I'm like, yeah, you can stay in the whole graveyard, but at a distance. Because he was just so well known, and he just always helped people. Whenever somebody asked for something, he'd make it or do it. So that's my dad. And he was 96 and he just passed on Monday.
Thank you, Deborah. Beautiful tribute. Thank you. On deck is Maggie Mitchell. Up now is Dan Ruderman, who we haven't seen in a while. Dan. Yay.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dan.
So what I care about me, God, my country, and my family, doing what's right and whatever it takes to keep us strong and free. Freedom isn't free, you know, and I am loyal to the courageous heroes that protect this land and our hard-earned freedoms. I care about those people who did those things so that we can have these things that we cherish so much. And don't anyone try to take that away from me. Not the Chinese with their kung flu, or the leftist fascists telling me when I can and cannot go outside and what I'm gonna wear on my face. I care about keeping this country strong and safe from outside enemies and enemies within. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's the wrong document. Hang on. Oh, here it is. What I care about is you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and all of us on this planet, all life, all species, and clean water and fresh air for us all to drink, and enough food to end hunger forever, everywhere, and to feed our children and our grandchildren and their children and their grandchildren for 7 generations to come. I care about healthcare for everyone. We can afford it. We are the richest, greatest nation in history, and we are the most free. And I want to keep it that way by protecting our democracy, our right to free elections and free speech and freedom from fear, from gun-toting crazies and right-wing conspiracy nuts. I care about people in other countries too, developing countries, Middle Eastern countries, and I want them all to have clean water and food and working sewers and good schools instead of endless war. I care about a loving and just society for everyone, not just white people, not just New England liberals, but also assholes from Ohio and shitheels from Alabama. Oh, wait, that's the wrong document, sorry. All right. I care about understanding the brain and the way it tricks us into thinking we are not competing against each other, that humans are not our only enemies on the planet, and that most of what we do is signaling, virtue signaling, value signaling, to make alliances, to win power and status that we need to survive, to keep our status, to keep our safety, to advance our goals. I care to experience direct connection without the trappings of dogma or cross-signaling or one-upsmanship. I care to be here, right now, with you, across this space that's real and virtual, that's direct and mediated, through fiber light that reaches out from each one of us to every other one of us, connecting us all together. I want to breathe here with you right now. And if you want to try something cool, what I want you to do is raise your hands up and look at the screen and look at all the people in front of you. And it doesn't matter if you have one screen or 10, just look at one or many of the people and think, that in front of me, you are a conscious being of choice. Just enjoy that moment. Because communication is the carrier wave of transformation. And it doesn't matter if we're all sitting in our own homes, we're connecting with each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Good to see you. Okay, let's see. Joan Embry is on deck and Maggie Mitchell is up next. Hey, Mag.
Hi. What I care about, there's so many things, but at the moment, I'm missing music in my life, so I decided to sing a song tonight. Even though it feels a bit strange to be sitting home alone singing to my computer and all of you via Zoom. I had thought about taking my laptop into the shower, but I thought that might be a little weird. So I hope someday soon we will all be together again in real time. And until then, here's my song written by Carole King. Way over yonder is a place that I know where I can find shelter from a hunger and cold, and the sweet tasting good life is so easily found away over yonder. That's where I'm bound, and I know when I get there, first thing I'll see is the sun shining golden, shining right down on me. Then trouble's gonna lose me, worry leave me behind, and I'll stand up proudly in true peace of mind. I'm talking about a way over yonder. There's a place I have seen. It's a garden of wisdom from some long ago dream. Baby, tomorrow I'll find my way to the many runs in the rivers each day, where the sweet tasting good life is so easily found. Away over yonder, that's where I'm bound.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay, let's see. Jeannie is on deck and Joan Embry is up now. Hey, Joan, you have to unmute yourself, hon.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So what am I doing? I'm pretending this is like some 12-step program. Okay. My name is Joan, and I'm a recovering, codependent, dysfunctional, enabling, part-time crazy person who has been clean for many years, but recently fell headlong off the wagon by saying yes to someone I had no business saying yes to, a friend, unless I was jonesing for some major like psychodrama, which I wasn't, but it's what I got. So one thing, a minor thing, but I care about is order, establishing order so I can function. For example, I can't like really happily weed all the gardens until I mow the lawn, or I can't leave the house until I make the bed, as if there's some, housekeeping police about to storm my door and arrest me for an unmade bed or some crazy thing. And I need things to be in their place, even little things. It's, it's just important to me. And my dear friend, whom I love, who I am about to rant about, he knows these afflictions of mine. So he'll be in my house and he'll just hide something, and he'll be terribly amused to know that soon I'll be frantic because almost immediately I will notice it's missing. So I said one day, "Where's that little turquoise copper vase?" And he said, "Oh, probably one of the dogs ate it." And I said, "Well, that's ridiculous. I need that vase." And he said, "Well, you know what Buddhism says about being attached to material possessions." I said, I'm not a Buddhist. "Well, how about yoga? The aparigraha principle of non-grasping of things." And I said, "Yeah, well, fuck aparigraha. I like my things." And he said, "Well, that's because you're a lunatic," his pet name for me. And I said, "I know you took it. Where'd you put it?" And he laughs. It's very funny. And I realize I'm a little lacking in humor with regard to gaslighting. I'm not sure it's funny. I think it's a little bit of a mean teasing, but no matter, he has sterling, endless qualities and I love him. And, for instance, once he put on a full hazmat suit with some kind of protective breathing device on his head and slithered under the half basement of my bedroom to put down a vapor barrier to prevent mold. And he's just so smart and talented and cute, and he's a great dancer. But he also, I would have to call it extreme attention deficit hyperactivity disorder that would make the road runner seem lethargic. I mean, I know this about him. So, but I kind of forgot. So I happened to tell him one night, he called, I said, "I have no hot water. The furnace is dead. There's a flood in my basement." He said, "Don't call a plumber. It'll cost you a fortune. I'm good at plumbing, furnaces. I'll be over in the morning." And I said, "Why, you want to wear your hazmat suit again?" I said, no, I better call a plumber. He said, "Why? Don't you trust me?" And there was the hook to draw me down into codependent hell. Because God forbid I don't trust someone. I never want to be mean. I want to be a good sport, which in the past has put my welfare in the hands of some remarkable maniacs, but never mind. So he comes over and he has on his mask. My daughter's there, and she's very vigilant about the pandemic, as we should be, and she's very keen on the masks. And he has all his tools, and he goes down the cellar. And you know, I start hearing kind of some grinding noises and crashes and bangs and stuff, and it's kind of making me nervous. But you know, it's okay. And then, while that's all going on, this guy from my past just shows up out of the blue. I haven't seen him in years. And he just waltzes up the driveway, no mask on, and my daughter kind of freaks out. And so that was okay. So he and I sat on a wall together and talked. And then my friend came up from out of the cellar. His hair looked crazy. He was like hyperventilating. And I don't know what he was doing down there in the cellar, but I was distracted. And I introduced my old friend to my current friend, and my old guy said, "Oh, she's my girl," and my friend said, "She's my wife." And so we all laugh, and because you know I'm flattered, I'm old, they're young, so anyway, so. And then so we were talking, this guy and I, and my friend came up out of the cellar again, and he said, "Hey, you two are sitting too close together." And so now I'm starting to think like I am losing control here. I should have called the fucking plumber. And so anyway, the guy leaves. My friend is still down there. I don't know what he's doing for 2.5 hours. And he said, "You know, I'm really sorry, but I checked on the sink, the bathroom sink. There was nothing wrong with the bathroom or the sink." And he said, "I kind of flooded the bathroom, and you should take care of your drains more, you know." And I said, what? There's nothing wrong with the sink. Meanwhile, water is cascading down the staircase. So now I'm really getting like a little bit worried. And so I don't know, he stopped. Oh, he turned something off on the sink, some valve. And I didn't know that in the process, he kind of broke it. So, okay, so he goes back in the cellar. And so this goes on, and it's getting really stressful. And so he finally comes up and says, and he's laughing, and he says, "Well, I guess you should have called the plumber." I said, "Well, why?" He said, "Well, I kind of made a mess down there." And he said, "You know, but this too shall pass." And he's laughing, but I didn't really know the havoc he had caused. So I walked him down to the gates at the end of the driveway, and he said, "You know, this is all your fault. You should take care of your drains better." And I thought, really, motherfucker, this is all my fault? Like what? Okay. So it wasn't until that evening, I ran a bath, and I went downstairs. I turned on the dishwasher, and all of a sudden I heard this whoosh, like a waterfall. And I go to the cellar and open the door, and there's like this rush, and I run downstairs, and it is like a waterfall pouring from the cellar ceiling. So I run back upstairs, turn off the dishwasher. Okay. Then I go upstairs, turn on the bath. And then I noticed this. Oh, and when he was leaving, he said, "Well, you know, you can use the bathroom sink. You just put a plastic container in it, and then you can use it. Because if you don't, it is going to flood again." I thought, well, what did you do to the sink? And sink was fine. And so I noticed when I'm starting the bath, the sink looks like a Rube Goldberg arrangement of like a plastic yogurt container wedged in with black electrical tape and strings, and not orderly, not what I care about very much. And so then I realized when my bath was done, I was thinking, oh my God, I got to find a plumber in this pandemic. But then the bathtub wouldn't drain. It wouldn't drain, and the bathtub was fine before. I don't know what he did to it. So miraculously, I got a plumber to come the next day. He was like the plumber from heaven. He was very gracious, and he didn't say, "Man, your friend really screwed stuff up." He was very nice. He fixed everything. It was perfect. So my friend calls. Meanwhile, my friend went out of town for a few days. I knew that. And so I knew he was quite far away. Oh, and before that, he had given me these headphones, because sometimes one of the neighbors is kind of noisy with machines. And I said, no, I won't use those. He said, keep them up. You'll use, they're great. I never used them. They were hanging on the back of a chair on the porch. And he noticed them when he was doing his plumbing adventure. And I said, take them back. I don't really use them. He said, no, I want you to have them, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so.
Joni,
Oh, it's over.
just winding up.
Oh,
Just-
okay.
Just
I'll
finish.
wind it up. So blah, 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 blah. So I don't know what to do. So I was mad at him. I told him I was mad at him, but I'm left feeling like I have to make this right. I love him. He's a friend. I don't know what to do. I don't want to be a codependent and apologize for something that wasn't my fault. Blah, blah. So then I remembered I was in the woods with my dog Cassidy, and he was far away in the field looking down at something, and I didn't know what it was. And I went back to see, and he was looking down and then looking at me and looking back down. And there was this little fawn, this precious little fawn looking up at him. And Cassidy kept looking back. He didn't know what to do. And he's been known to murder and devour quite a few animals, so he's no angel, but he didn't know what to do with this fawn. And so I walked away, assuming the doe was nearby and would come back. And then finally Cassidy followed me, and we both walked away. And I thought, that's the lesson, that if you don't know what to do, best not to cause harm or shame, or just sometimes you just have to walk away and do nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joni.
Sorry that went on too long. Sorry.
Okay, let's see. Frank Wall is on deck and Jeannie Bassis is up next.
Okay, and because my internet is what it is, it might freeze, you might lose my picture, you might only hear my voice, you may hear none of this. Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and that the water around the path grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, The slow one now will later be fast as a present now will later be past. The order is rapidly fading, and the first one now will later be last for the time never changing.
Thank you, Jeannie. Now you're moving, but you
Did
weren't.
you hear any?
You were
Did you hear any of it?
It was very blurry. Thank you, hon.
Did you hear it?
We heard something.
Yeah, it was the sound of silence, wasn't it?
We heard you.
Thanks, Ted. Okay.
We were tapping along. Some people were even playing their own guitars with it. It was a good time.
Okay, Eileen Marcus is on deck and Frank Wall is up. Welcome, Frank.
Thanks, Deb. Good evening. We sailed, some of you knew that I sailed back from Europe in an old sailboat last fall, and we landed in the Caribbean. And because of the COVID, we had to make a beeline for New York, but we weren't able to get fuel because everything was closing down. Puerto Rico was closed, all the Bahamas. So we could only sail. And we were low on a little bit of, we just had a small fuel tank. So we could only sail, and we had 4 days of doldrums. So I wrote this song, and my wife and I will sing it for you. It's clear that I have been drifting, and drifting to the place that I know. And though I'm barely moving, I'm drifting toward the life that I love. I'm sitting here becalm, no winds in sight, assessing all the dreams I've come to know. Just waiting for a breeze to set things right, take you to the place that I call home. It's clear that I've been drifting, and drifting to the place that I know. And though I'm barely moving, I'm drifting toward the life that I love. It often seems to me that this is the place to be, floating across the deep and unknown, toward the one I see who carries my heart that I have so gratefully loaned. It's clear that I've been drifting, and drifting toward the place that I know. And though I'm barely moving, I'm drifting toward the life that I love. Most people struggle hard to move right along, chasing their elusive dreams. But I just take my time and made up my mind to go where this restless ocean streams. Clear that I've been drifting, and drifting toward the place that I know. And though I'm barely moving, I'm drifting toward the life that I love. I feel the wind rise, and it's no surprise to feel the welcome on my return. I can't wait to see what's awaiting me and process everything that I have learned. It's clear that I've been drifting, and drifting toward the place that I know. And though I'm barely moving, I'm drifting toward the life that I love. I'm drifting toward the life I love. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Great to hear you. See you.
Oh, good. You did hear it.
Yeah, we heard you. No, it was good. And it was a good,
thanks.
good
It's right on the theme there, the life that I love.
There you go.
Okay, Bubsy is on deck and Eileen Marcus is up now. Where
So
are
I
you?
care that you can all hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
I can hear you.
And you hear me loud and clear. And when I got Deb's theme, what I care about, I was like, how many pages do you have, right? I mean, really, I care about so many things. But you inspired me to write a poem for my mother's 85th birthday was last week. And I wrote a poem for her entitled, What I Care About. At a point in your lifetime, around a certain decade, entering a specific year, in a particular month, during a distinct week, on an exact day, about a special hour, at a precise moment, you know what matters. Fear has exited, regrets released, sorrows felt. Bravely letting go, deeply believing to become everything I care about.
Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Keith Emmerling is on deck and Bubsy is up next.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
I have to look at a teeny tiny phone screen, so hopefully I'll be able to read this. Great to hear everybody so far. It's been wonderful. Contemplating the things I care about, my mind is strangely drawn to the things I don't care about. Ever since the pandemic hit, my perspective has shape-shifted. I've been laid off from my job in the hospitality field since March 17th. At first, I was thoroughly wigged out, terrified by financial uncertainty. But as time has ticked on and days have rolled into weeks, then into months, I've crossed the threshold into ambivalence and have now arrived in the pasture of loving it. I feel like a retiree, albeit without the stock market portfolio or the grandchildren. I'm in no place financially speaking to retire, and having just turned 60, it seems to me that I've collapsed exhausted at about the 20-mile marker of this marathon known as career. Frankly, I have no idea how I'll pick myself up again when called to go back to work. Although I have no strong ill will toward my employer, just a rather vague distrust, perhaps, I have zero desire to re-enter the petri dish of a resort during a global pandemic. Periodically, I receive cryptic emails from said employer attempting to explain their ever-changing reopening dates and strategies, the latest of which is looming in just over 2 weeks. They're trying to make sense of the maddening, rolling shit show, which is the American coronavirus response. And I wish them the best as they struggle to survive this beast called capitalism. I find management's language annoyingly upbeat, as not only am I not excited to return to the workplace, I find myself dreading it, having an underlying condition which puts me at greater risk of not faring well should I contract the virus. I debate with myself on a daily basis whether I should call my pulmonologist and get her guidance on whether to return to work when called back. Should I really play the pulmonologist card? I realize that I've taken this pandemic as a greater threat than a lot of people in my social circle. Am I being too paranoid? I care about the welfare of other people and would hate to unknowingly pass along this virus to anyone. But at the risk of sounding self-centered, I care about my own health and safety more. I've spent so much of my adult life holding on to jobs that don't really resonate with me, climbing into this box or that box, which no longer fits. Climbing into this box or that box that no longer fits. This is just the latest in an assembly line of similar boxes. Lately, I ask myself, could I be okay with retiring in relative poverty? I love the idea of being free of the stress-inducing slog of making a living. American capitalism has always felt creepy to me, the incessant push to be more, do more, have more. I've been steeped in it like a tea bag since the day I was born. I've always been a type B personality trapped in a type A culture. Wasn't the pandemic supposed to slow us down, to make us reflect on what's really important in life? As I sit here in the privilege of not being out on the front lines of this thing, I find myself reassessing what I want my life's contribution to be. I can honestly say that I've never really cared about money. Oh, I've always loved the nice things and experiences that money can buy, but I've never been able to get very charged up about it. I thought I wanted to make more money because you're supposed to want that, aren't you? Besides, the people I went to school with were such overachievers. As I see some of their beautiful homes and vacations and gardens on Facebook, I wonder what they would think of my humble one-bedroom apartment. But you know what? I love my apartment. More importantly, I love the people in my life. At any age, my life can be what I make it. I guess it all starts with rediscovering what I really care about and honoring and savoring that. When this is all over, if America goes back to its constant, incessant running, I guess it's up to me to say, you go on ahead. I'll catch up with you later.
It's beautiful, Bubsy. Beautiful. Thank you. Let's see. Rozzy, do you want to do anything? All right, she's not there. So Ian isn't here. And so Ted is on deck and Keith Emmerling is up now.
There's a gentle stirring that rustles through me, a breeze that winds through my consciousness. It harbors the memories that bind me to who I am. I care for these deeply, as I cannot be all things I am at once. There is the past, unique to me in this land far from the ocean. There are trips along the coast, south of Point Conception, where the beaches are empty and I ride the breaking surf. There are the verticals that peak at the coping of an empty swimming pool as my skateboard wheels roll 9 feet above the drain. Then there are the thoughts of love, mostly just a wish or a dream that is shown to me in the eyes of another. The memories of this one or that, and the love for all. For this is the real joy in life, set free by a smile or laughter in the heart. Don't grow cold and indifferent to others who may not be exactly like you. The key is to love everyone, or at least love the spirit that flows through their being. If we can respect all living things, then we can learn to love the world around us. You ask me what I care about. It is a love for all things, the reason for life, the cascade of memories and unique experiences of each of us. There's not so much what I do as the love that goes into each and every effort. I cook, I make art. I live in this extraordinary space of loving what I do. This enriches me in ways that are indescribable. The inner world is full and blossoming. This is the good I seek, and it takes me far away from the hate and indifference I see so much of today. I must go beyond equality into embracing. The rights of one are the rights of all. Never let us forget the long road to these freedoms.
Thank you, Keith. Rozzy, did you want to share something? I'll put you on deck. Okay, you can be on deck, and Ted, you're up next.
All right, I'll be reading from my iPhone. I just wrote this afternoon. I did take to heart what I care about. And then part of what I care about is writing funny things, odd things for you guys. This is called Truth of the Blood Tiger Mother. After 20 years seeking the truth, the very word he used and capitalized in his diaries and emails to his followers, because after that much effort, you get your own followers. And having long been run through the ringer by teachers and gurus and retreats and webinars and blogs and all of that, he finally got on the jet plane and went to the secret country. That's all he wrote them in the goodbye email blast. And there he hired a guide and a set of mules to carry gifts, iPads and PCs and headsets and a 49-inch television, the smallest they make in 4K. Not that they would get UHD programming in the village, so high and cold and strange a place rising in the haze. The objects he brought, gems of Western wisdom, would affirm to the master how very much he cared. He hoped, of course, how could he not? He never stopped it, to get the answer, to find the truth. The seeker's address had been found in his gear, someone wrote in a letter sent to his home, which, due to its alarming appearance, had been quickly opened by the yoga teacher who was house sitting. Once one got through a page of greetings and wishes for the well-being of the family, you read with unsettling brevity how the seeker had been ruined in a ravine, and how, in startling contrast, this was the seeker's, quote, final resolution into truth. It occurred in late November on a forbidden, or did they mean foreboding, mountain pass, where he had dropped out of doubt and confusion on the 300-foot fall, which had either preceded or followed a mysterious session when his organs had been taken, the writer assured them, by the legendary blood tiger mother for goodly use by her cubs. The treasure of the letter and its justification for appearing in some seeker journals is the account it gives on page 3 of the learning session between the seeker and the blind master, who upon receiving the TV and other treasures of the hell realm then entered into revealing to the seeker the answer he had so long sought. Seeker, what is truth? Who asks this? A seeker of truth? There is no truth, only seeking of it. And after seeking, what? There is no after, no before. But that's what my first library book said years ago. So why bother coming here? I guess. Say, does your wife like the TV? We love it. Did you bring 4K DVDs? Oh yes, I gave them to her. So look, tell me again, what is truth? Okay, tonight, walk back to where you came from. Take no food or water and wear no garment. Naked truth is your name. So, do you know there's a blizzard arising, Master? But, okay, I'm ready to go home. Walk in your sleep. Go back down the treacherous mountain pass whereby you came to us. Then I will appear to you. I will be the blood tiger mother, hungry and with babies in my cave. I will take you there for dinner. Oh, Master, will I then see the truth? Are you still spelling it with a capital T? Is that okay? Sure, why not? Come watch a movie with my wife. I'm old. A helicopter was sent to fetch his body, and when they arrived and asked to see the master, he told them, "You are seeking truth?" They showed him the photograph of the seeker. He said, "Yeah, that's him. He's in my hut watching reruns." Then he called up the hill, "Truth, come down here. They want to take you home." But truth, as often may be the case in stories like this, was asleep. The wife nudged him, but you know how it is.
Thank you, Ted.
Yeah. Something to think about.
Something. Razi, I just want to ask if anybody else I missed or wants to share after Raz. Can you send me a chat? Okay, Razi.
Okay. Hello, beautiful people. This song was written, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, and by me, and it came singing back to me to be sung. So here it is. I'm gonna ask, if possible, Deb, that you unmute us all, because the very last line is, when I go for the second time, I'll say, I've always known you're somewhere. The somewhere there is love. So I'd love for whoever wishes to sing that, the somewhere there is love, together.
I'll just say, Rosie, having people on Zoom all at once doesn't work. You only get a mess, kind of. So,
okay. So then,
sing to themselves.
yeah, okay, then to yourself, just the somewhere there is love, if that so speaks to you. All right, here we go. I've always known you're somewhere. I feel you deep inside. And when I look out somewhere, I sense you in the skies. I've always known you're somewhere. I feel it in my blood. I've always known you're somewhere. The somewhere there is love. And now I get to sing this song and sing it just for you. And now I get to share the song that I could hear through you. My dog wants to get out the door. Like the breath of the wind, I am here. Like the song of the earth, I am here. Like the rush of the wave, like an eagle in flight, like the power of light, I am here. Like the song in my heart, I am here. Shh. Like the look in your eyes, I am here. Come here. Like the touch of a leaf, like the smell of the earth, it's like heaven's rebirth, I am here. Like the love in my heart, I am here. Like the whole and the part, I am here. Like the green of the grass, like the blue of the sky, like the you in the eye, I am here. Like the love of your life, I am here. Like the eagle in flight, I am here. Like the green of the trees, like the brown of the bark, it's like heaven imparts, I am here. Yes, I've always known you're somewhere. I feel you deep inside. And when I look out somewhere, I sense you in the skies. Yes, I've always known you're somewhere. I feel it in my blood. I've always known you're somewhere. Here we go, the somewhere there is love. The somewhere there is love. Oh, I loved seeing some of you sing. Thank you so much.
Oh, that was beautiful, Rosie. Thank you. Thank you. Janice wants to go. Janice Bowersox. Okay, babe, you're up.
All right. I don't go for the chat window. There's no contest tonight. I tried to think of words that contain the word care, and I don't know, it just didn't really inspire me. Although I did think about how, you know, you give and take things, but with caretaking and caregiving, it's sort of both giving. It just struck me as interesting. Think about that. But I want to read from the Book of Qualities, and I picked to read about anxiety. Anxiety is secretive. He does not trust anyone, not even his friends. Worry, terror, doubt, or panic. He has a way of glomming onto your skin like smog, and then you feel unclean. He likes to visit me late at night when I am alone and exhausted. I have never slept with him, but he kissed me on the forehead once, and I had a headache for 2 years. He is sure a nuisance to get out of the house. He has no respect for locks or curtains or doors. I speak from experience. It takes cunning to get rid of him, a combination of anger, humor, and self-respect. A bath helps too. He does not like to get wet. As a last resort, if you are not near a bathtub, wet your face with tears.
Thank you, Janice. Anybody else that didn't get a chance want to share? No, I think you all pretty much did. A couple of people didn't. Okay, everybody. I want to tell you that I care deeply about all of you and all of you coming every month. Gosh, how long is this one going to go on? I don't know. But I care that Zoom got invented and that we can share on Zoom. And I care that we all have our artistic voices. I think the world needs our voices now and in the future. So thank you all for coming. Kisses. I care about kisses. Did we miss kisses?
Thanks, Deb. Love you, Deb.
You can
Deb.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Deb, so much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, dear heart.
Thank you, Deb.
Bye.
And if anybody wants to come down to the GB Bridge Fridays at noon, stand up for justice every Friday.
You know, I forgot to do that. Ask people about announcements. Oh, well, but there was one. Thank you, Jean.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Deb.
Take care.
Everyone.
Bye, everybody.
You in Panama? Where are you, Diana? Where are you?
In Pittsfield.
Oh, you're in Pittsfield.
Not so far away.
Hi, Diana. Love to you.
All of you. What?
Bye. Bye, Ted.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for tricking me 2 or 3 times in your wonderful piece.
Thank you for your reading, Keith.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for your song.
Thank you, Deborah, for your beautiful tribute to your dad.
I forgot to say that he got home from the hospital the day before his 70th wedding anniversary with my mom, which was June 25th. So they got to be home together.
Beautiful.
And so thank you to everyone. Great things.
Thank you for sharing, both of you. Good to see you.
Hi, Krisha.
Hi.
I liked your song.
Hey, Roz, did you write that song?
I did.
It's
Oh,
beautiful.
Good on you. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have you put it into music notation?
You know, they just sort of come to me.
I mean, have you written it out as music notation?
That one actually, my mom wrote out as music notation.
Nice.
So if you ever want to, I don't know, do it together, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, thank you.
It's very nice. Thanks.
Thank you.
Inwards, outwards.